Oh, man. I mean, is this just not perfect for Ben Askren's UFC debut? It had it all. Certainly looked like he had been in a fight after the fact. He got slammed on his head by ruthless Robbie Lawler, who was absolutely in the shape of his life, who was absolutely a better fighter than he was at any time prior. In my opinion, going in a pro career that dates to 2001, he was healthy. He was ready to go. He almost tore Ben Askren's head off, and a couple seconds later, Ben Askren by submission.
Dude, I was watching that, and when he came out, I was like, Mr. Lawler, can you please put your muscles and veins away? You're scaring the children. You're scaring the children with your eyes. What do you do? You are a psychopath. I mean, he looked as scary as I've ever seen him. And he came out, and then you see Ben Askren, who looks like anyone's dad in Middle America, and you're like, wait, what are they doing? How are they allowing this guy to fight that man right there, Robbie Lawler? And Robbie went out and he slams him on his head. He pounds his head into the canvas, and Ben Askren somehow in Homer Simpson fashion gets back to his feet, out wrestles, and then all controversy ensues. And that was one of the craziest fights I have ever seen. And I'm being honest. I mean, it was a roller coaster ride of emotions for me. I mean, just ridiculous. First of all, the power and speed that Robbie Lawler showed at his age after so many years in the UFC. And then, that was like is going to be his welcoming to Ben Askren. And you're like, well, this guy is completely outgunned. I mean, Ben Askren can't even disguise the fact that he can't strike when he shadow boxes. Okay. But he's still an amazing fighter. And I'm saying that kind of jokingly, but I'm not. Ben Askren is still a handful for anybody. He is such a damn good wrestler. It is scary.
Oh, he is.
And again, if he gets his hands on anybody, you are in trouble. And it's wild that Robbie Lawler still has form after so many years fighting, since he was a teenager. And then you have Ben Askren with that toughness and his wrestling ability. Man, I wish it went down a different way, but I don't know. Both of these guys are just savages.
Oh, no. Askren is going to suffocate a lot of people to the ground and then choke them out one way or another. There's no doubt about it. There's so many layers and nuances to his wrestling game that we didn't even see Saturday night. And despite having a looser core than the host of this podcast, right? I mean, it's incredible, right? I did say, I think on the post show, maybe at some point in time after we talked to the great Ben Askren, and by the way, absolutely fucking love this guy, like total breath of fresh air, Ben Askren. But I say, when Lawler's hitting him in the body, I believe early on, or like you feel like maybe it just would help to have a little bit of a tighter core, But I think for Askren, this dude, he is just one of a kind, man. He truly is. I saw him banging a pastry at Starbucks, Kenflo, the morning of the fight without a fucking care in the goddamn world, All right, we got to table that for a second. I want to get your thoughts on Herb Dean, the stoppage, all of that. But there's one thing about Ray Longo, as nice a guy as he is. We've said it repeatedly. He hates when we're late. Let's get to the Ray Longo minute.
It's now time for the Ray Longo minute.
I want you to punch a hole in his fucking chest. That's what I want.
The Ray Longo minute. Starring Ray Longo. The John Anik and Kenny Florian podcast.
And the legend Ray Longo now joins us. It is 1:02 p.m. Eastern time, 2 minutes after the Ray Longo minute was scheduled for today. Sorry about that, Ray. How are you?
Very good, man. Lots to talk about today,
Oh, tons. We'll take it for as long as we can have you. I don't know where exactly you want to start. We led the show with Kamaru Usman. Kenny thought it was the most impressive performance of the weekend. No argument from me. This is a guy who I really felt like eventually was going to get to the top of the heap. I thought finally when he got the title shot and Tyron Woodley was the guy there, it wasn't going to be easy. But 10-0 in the UFC, I don't know that he's ever lost a round in the octagon and made it pretty dominant against Tyron Woodley.
And I think that's the impressive part. He not only won, but he won in the manner that he won it. In which he won it was phenomenal. I mean, he made that look look easy.
Yeah, I was blown away as well, man.
Me too, definitely.
Yeah, Ray, there was another fight at 170 pounds, Ben Askren and Robbie Lawler. I think my emotions are still up and down from that roller coaster ride. Crazy fight. What did you think about the performance from Robbie Lawler, the performance from Ben Askren, and how it all ended?
Okay, look, here's my two takeaways from that fight.
Yes.
Robbie Lawler is an absolute class act, great guy. Ben Askren is absolutely tough as a motherfucker, man.
Oh,
I don't.
It's crazy.
I mean, how do you get rid of that guy? I mean, so yeah, unfortunately, it ended the way it ended. I don't believe Lawler was out, but I think, Herb at least did his due diligence. He lifted the arm. He tried to, he made the call. And I guess, like, again, if you're there for the fighter's safety, you can't argue with it. But I thought it was unfortunate, and I don't believe Lawler was out. I thought he articulated that perfectly in his press conference. But, wow, I mean, the guy took a beating, and he was able to come back and mount anything. That's phenomenal to me. And, like, again, that was like you say, while it lasted, it was absolute chaos. I mean, you those fights, your heart comes out of your chest. But still overall was a good thing. And like, again, I think it was a shame because I would have loved to see the way that fight played out, because it did look like Askren was operating subconsciously, like on rubber legs, even when he had him against the cage. So. But
Ray, are you okay, Ray? Jesus Christ.
No. I had a rough week last week. I might be coughing a little bit.
Stop smoking those backwoods before the show, my man. Jesus.
Yeah, I think the smoke.
Actually, John, can we get that via Skype? I hope that's not contagious. All right. Well, listen, Ray. The other fight that was really interesting to me, and I felt bad for Cody Garbrandt. Again, this is a guy who was on top of the world. Again, got too emotional, in my opinion. Just stood there in the pocket. He's fighting a great fight, gets emotional, and just starts throwing haymakers with Pedro Munoz and loses. What do you do with a fighter that is getting overly emotional? How do you deal with something like that? Again, not only was it an unfortunate loss, but this is kind of the third fight in a row where he's kind of gone off script. So what did you think about the whole thing?
It's a bad thing. This guy's emotions are going to kill him at this point because he can't control them. And that was definitely a winnable fight for him, but he chose to just from caution to the wind at a time where he probably could have picked them apart if he was just a little calmer, because he's got the power to do that and the technique. But man, one of the things you could try is to get him emotional and then make him relax right away.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like almost like, you almost get in a car accident and your heart's beating, like jump out of the car and shadow box. You know what I mean? Like you have to be able to tone it down. I could come up with some stuff, whether it would work or not, I don't know, but it's got to be something like that, where as soon as you hit that code red, you're able to pull it back and, start breathing again and refocus. So I don't know, man, because that's a guy now that he's in a weird position because his chin is not going to hold up like that much longer. It's not holding up now, and he's getting hit with big shots. He's not getting hit, he's not getting tapped. So I don't know, but it's definitely a case of where his emotions are just killing him at this point. And he's a good guy, but somebody's got to jump in there. And I'm going to say like a sports psychologist is where he's heading. That would be the only thing to do, is to try to get him to realize when he goes into that code red, focus and just, be able to act calmly.
Yeah. Yeah, when things get wild, his natural instinct certainly is not to reset and protect himself and raise his guard. It's to get in a fight. And again, I know him well. I mean, he and his brother used to, drive 25 minutes and beat the fucking hell out of each other away from their mother, right?
Yeah.
Time and time again. Amateur boxing repetitions, more than maybe you'd even like, right? Football, played middle linebacker in the state of Ohio, had 150 tackles in a season. The dude knows one direction, it's forward. And I think these are some thick stripes to be changing, sports psychologist or otherwise. I'm just not sure he can do it.
Yeah, I mean, look, it is a good quality, but he has to focus that quality. He just has to hone it. He's got a great quality, man. You want to come back,
Right.
Who was the other fighter that, even like a guy like Bisping, man, he gets hit, but he comes right back like nothing happened.
Yeah.
But he's not, you know what I mean? Like, it's a great quality, but he's not using it the right way at this point. So you want your guys to have that spirit and that that aggression, but it's got to be controlled aggression. It's
Yeah.
just, you can't be reckless.
Right. All of that being said, all credit to Pedro Munoz, and hopefully Kenny and I have some time on the backside to talk about him and everything that he's put on paper in terms of his bantamweight resume. Your guy, Aljamain Sterling, was really inspired by this fight and I think by this Munoz performance. And I think you're looking now in this bantamweight division at a big 4 or 5 that includes both Munoz and Aljamain Sterling. I know you haven't talked to Aljo because the fight just happened, but I mean, what do you think his appetite might be to either a main event against Munoz or a possible fight with Pedro, given the fact that the Cody fight, I would think for Aljo has less upside given the result this weekend?
Yeah, exactly. And I think, Aljo, if you look at his tweets, I think he really just wants to fight. So he's open to anything.
Right.
And, I think Munoz definitely is a force to be reckoned with. He's he's coming off 2 really good performances. And, Aljo just wants to fight. He wants a big fight. And I think he's going to get it.